Hello, everyone. I'm back with an episode of the Fire Never Dies podcast. And today I have with me, I have got to do better, timer on, Miss Tara Pvel. Are you a principal? How do you even describe that job title?
Well, the job title is owner, director, principal, lead teacher of Achieve Academy.
Of Achieve Academy.
Yeah.
And also an author. These are her works before us. There will be links in the description below. How are you?
I'm great.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Thank you. This is it's gonna be good. So we got about 30 minutes where we'll just really talk about what you do and such.
Okay.
So how did this begin first? Because you have an actual school. Like this is
right.
like you can walk into the door. There's classrooms. There are names, and we're in the library right now. How did it get? Take me back to the beginning of this.
Well, the beginning really is me as a small child playing teacher. So it started there. This love for learning, and I'm from England. So in England we start school at 3 sometimes. So I started school at 3 years old, and I've just loved it, loved the whole atmosphere. So, but then my direction changed. My first degree is in business, and so I was going to be this high-powered businesswoman, have no children, just be about traveling the world. And that all changed when I saw in London an independent school run by the Nation of Islam there. And I saw the way that the children were just so mature in their conversation.
Right.
They were able to talk to adults and really hold a conversation and explain things that I just hadn't seen children do. So I was like, oh wow, this is fantastic. And their school is called Future Leaders in London. So that kind of sparked the idea, but it wasn't until I got here to Warner Robins where my son started public school here. So he had already been in school for 2 years in England, so he was reading and everything. And when I would pick him up from kindergarten, he was like coloring. It would be, today is the color red or whatever. And it was just like slowing him down. I knew he could do so much more.
Right.
So I said, I'll try homeschooling. And it just went from there. I started homeschooling him, and then other people started asking me to homeschool their children. And the school kind of grew, but it was still in my home. And so I decided, well, okay, let me get a qualification. So I got my master's degree in education. And then started venturing outside of the home, renting spaces. This is our 6th location, so every single time we've grown. And now we're at 50 students.
50 students.
Yes.
Now, what year was the Achieve Academy actually started?
I founded Achieve Academy in 2017. So that's when it went from like a homeschool to more of a private school.
Okay,
I actually call it
a new location each year almost?
Each year. I call it an independent school rather than a private school. Because private school sounds so like elitist and almost like it's only for a certain type of people.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, so an independent school is more that you're doing it for the purpose of the children and the families that you're serving. So that's what I see. I see a purpose here. And our families are not traditional private school families. These are not families that intended, oh, we're going to send our children to private school. It's just been a need. Something's either not quite going right in the public school, or they just need more instruction time. Maybe they were bullied. They need a safer environment. So we're able to offer that.
So would you say it's the at risk? Or
at the same time it is. So a lot of our students have learning challenges.
Okay.
But at the same time we also have a lot of gifted students who are in the classroom maybe starting to be disruptive. So they were getting bored, no challenges. And so children with also behavior issues are welcome here as well, because I feel like sometimes our boys are in the back of a classroom not understanding what's going on, and they don't want to be, face the embarrassment of like raising their hand and saying I need help. So we're able to make them feel just so comfortable at home, like we're an extension of their family, basically,
Right.
and that's what I wanted to do.
That is the vibe that I get the few times I've been here already.
Okay,
Like
good,
it is,
good.
it's definitely like more family. Like you know how. I guess what I'm trying to say is, like in public school, you know, like you see a group of friends,
Exactly.
and
right.
like you just know, like okay, that's a group of friends. But here it seems like almost each kid interacts with each other
Exactly.
kid, like however they naturally just interact with them. So I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, even outside of the age groups. So even I teach the high schoolers.
Right.
So even they interact with the preschoolers in a way that's so nurturing and like a big brother or sister.
Right. Yeah,
So I
that's
love
what
to see
noticed
that.
a lot of like even like in passing, like you can tell like there's not a lot of tick for tat stuff. Like
no, that's right.
There's really like a genuine love in the
Exactly.
walls.
Exactly. That's right. And you know, I come to work happy. I mean, this is what I love to do. I want to create a happy environment. And it's surprising that our students develop this love for learning again. So their parents are shocked when they send them to Achieve Academy. It's like, this is the first time they ever woke up before me to get ready to go to school. So that's amazing.
Yeah. If school was exciting for me, I probably would have been a much better student. I was probably the student that you described as gifted, but got bored.
Yes.
So like, if it's, and I'm like that now. If I'm not constantly doing something,
Right,
I
right.
will almost do anything because I'm interested. I
Right.
have a genuine curiosity about things that I don't know about.
Right, exactly. And a lot of times boys do, because you know they're developing that man energy, and it's like I'm gonna kind of control the world energy, but that has to be directed.
Right.
So you have to offer challenges. We have something called Board to Boss, which is our entrepreneurship program. So that allows each student to start a business once a year. And that's a real challenge. Now you have to think about the manufacturing, the product, the packaging, the marketing, and you present that product once a year to the public. And a lot of our students, especially the boys, they take it into full-time production. They go year-round with that. So that's a challenge that's so practical, and it sets them up for life. Yeah.
Do you you don't have any sports for them, do you? Or
Not
how is that
yet.
incorporated?
Right. Well, I see us with a sports program at some point. Now we've moved into this location, which has a gym that's like improved things.
Right.
Now we can have different coaches come in and actually work with the students as like a PE class.
Oh, yeah.
But I want us to be at the position where we're able to compete with other schools.
That'd actually be amazing. That'd
Yes.
be awesome. I will be rooting for the Achieve Academy, if not coaching for them.
Exactly.
I played soccer my entire life, so if you need a soccer coach,
Wow.
I can do that for you. Let's get into these works of art.
Well, thank you.
How did each one? These are only 4 so far.
These are the only 4 workbooks that I've written so far. And this is during the pandemic when I had time.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't
that was my
teaching.
next question. Like, when were they written?
Right. I wasn't teaching, so I had time at home. Well, we were teaching virtually. So it was like all this time at home. And I had these ideas for a long time, so it was so good to be able to get them into print. So it started with this one, which is the writing one. And that's just noticing that children just don't have that writing skill that used to be taught more in preparation for like going to college, where there's so much writing involved in it. So that takes you, it's like a 30-day journal where you're writing each day. And it's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be graded. You know, you're supposed to be free writing, expressing yourself.
That's awesome. That's actually good because we had to write a whole bunch of essays for college stuff back in the day, and I don't think that happens as much now. You don't hear about kids like, I have this 5,000 word essay to do for my scholarship. I actually haven't heard somebody say that in years.
Well, okay, my daughter goes to Mercer, and she is like the queen of saying, I have this 5,000 page essay to write on.
It's probably just not out there as much.
Yeah, exactly. But if you have that foundation in writing, it's so easy for you. But it becomes difficult if you can't put your thoughts onto paper.
What was not to get away from the books, but what was the subject that you had as a child that was like, that you really enjoyed learning?
Well, I'm going to go backwards. So I hated math.
Okay.
Yeah, I really hated math, and I was like straight A's for everything except for math. And my parents got me a tutor, and he used to come to the house and sit across the dining room table and just talk me through math. And it's amazing, like it clicked for me. And then I loved math. That was my favorite subject.
Oh, wow.
So sometimes, you know, we can have difficulty with an area, but it just takes somebody to help us through it. Yeah,
for me personally, I think my favorite subject was definitely literature. So the writing stuff, I enjoyed. Like, I enjoyed like each year of high school, any like storytelling. Like, that was my thing. I was into that.
Right, that's great.
Math.
Okay.
Math. Oh my gosh, it's funny because I was really good at it, but I did not like it. I don't know why. I just didn't like it.
And you were good at it. Okay.
But science, it helped science come to me easily. I don't think I actually didn't like any subjects.
Oh, well, that's good.
Because I honestly enjoy learning.
I do too. Right.
So, what tactics do? How does the Achieve Academy keep the kids interested in learning, or actually like push them to learn? Because we know the public school system is like, this is what you're learning, and I'm sure you have like a curriculum like that has to match like a state standard.
Sure.
But do you lean into like their interest? Because you said the entrepreneurship part.
Right.
But as far as like, say you might have one that has a podcast and they wanted to actually learn more about the inner workings of what goes on behind the scenes. Exactly. Do you have anything going on for that?
Well, we can kind of follow their interests wherever they take us. So I was talking to you earlier about the gardening program. So some of the students are really into that, like the gardening, but not just as a hobby, but making it a business. So we're able to kind of follow that through, and we're going to do the raised bed gardens.
Okay.
We have other students that just have such a wide variety of interests, so we bring people in to help with that. So you've seen some of our mentors that come in and talk to the students.
Right.
So if somebody says, I'd like to know about, say, aviation, then we know we have Miss Tamika Ray Head, and she's the aviation person. Then we would have her come in and talk to them and teach them something about it. So we have more freedom to kind of follow the interests of the student.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a good thing.
That is actually amazing.
Yes.
We need that. Do you have anything, because we are coming up on Black History Month. This book actually gave me an idea for what I might do. Just interview like a whole bunch of just like black women for the Black History Month. 'Cause I don't have a lot of female guests. Like, I think you're like the third.
Wow.
So thank you.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you about that one. It was...
Yeah, Black History is too big for February. Yeah. So that one has been on my heart for a long time. I almost kind of reject the idea of having a Black History Month just because you're saying this is how long we need to focus on this, and then we can focus on everything else. Whereas history is Black history. So that book takes you through, from the beginning, ancient Egypt. It takes you through every major event, all the wars, and it shows you that black people were involved in everything. So it takes away that idea that it's Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks, and it makes it so much bigger.
Right.
And that's also like a journal for the student. So they can do their own research, they can read, it gives them kind of prompts, and they can, kind of absorb that history throughout the year rather than a month.
Actually, amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. You are really good at this, huh? you must be pretty good at this.
I'm trying.
You must be pretty good at this.
I'm trying.
Doing a great job. 6 years in, you have an actual, this is great. Yeah, it's weird because we used to come here as a kid and be in these rooms. They had it sort of like a Bible school almost. So we would come and do that during the day and then go play in the gym and do all types of stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
So it's like a full circle.
Full circle. It really is. That's right.
Absolutely.
It is.
Dang. So what do you have? What does the future of Achieve Academy look like to you?
The future is my focus is 300 students. That's the goal.
Okay.
And then it's also to roll out this idea of Achieve Academy in different cities. People ask right now, could you bring it to our city? Mm-hmm. But I just don't have the resources right now to be able to do that. But just reaching as many people as we can. I have a program called Reading with Kings, mm-hmm. which is under our nonprofit called Achieve Foundation. And that is just one-to-one reading with boys, helping them with their reading difficulties and just get an interest in it. Mm-hmm. So I hope Reading with Kings is national, a national program, because that is so rewarding. And for the boys, it's almost instantly, within 2 weeks, you can see a difference. They're looking forward to the reading session, and then you get the feedback from school and parents oh, they're suddenly more interested. Mm-hmm. So I would love for Reading with Kings to go, really far.
That's actually something I would like to help you out with as well. If I can, do you have people come read?
We don't right now, but I'm going to set that up.
Okay.
Because we do it right now on Saturday mornings, mm-hmm. as well as after school. But I think Saturday mornings would be a really nice time to have a book club, mm-hmm. and have somebody come and read to them each week.
Oh yeah,
that would be
absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm very big on reading. I'm the friend that's I'm gonna get you a book for your birthday.
Oh, nice,
so
nice.
Yeah, I'm very big on reading. I'm trying to think. We got a lot of time. Actually.
Okay, good.
Yes. What was?
I'm going to talk about that book if you don't mind. The First Reader.
Yes.
So we also have a First Reader. It's called a First Reader for Kings and Queens. And that is a beginning phonics book. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you followed the whole debate on how to teach a child to read, but it's
There's a debate. Wait.
Yeah.
There was a debate on that.
Yeah, it's a huge debate, and now a lady just came out with a podcast called Sold a Story, mm-hmm. to kind of highlight the fact that public schools have been fooled by these false programs, mm-hmm. to improve reading. Mm-hmm. And during the podcast, it's fantastic. She adds up the amount of money they've spent on this curriculum, mm-hmm. and it's millions per district.
Right.
And you end up, you go through the 6-part, I think it is, podcast, and you end up realizing that phonics instruction, the sounds of the letters, mm-hmm. the way they used to teach in schools,
right.
is the way to teach reading. So now they have brain science to prove that that's the way, mm-hmm. that we learn. It's all connected to sound, and our brain accesses
right.
the words through that. So now, if you see on TikTok and you see Sold a Story, it's teachers burning the curriculum and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of wild.
I actually want to. I'm gonna look into that actually, because I haven't heard of that. I have not heard of that, and that's major. How someone learned. So they're saying the old school way is the
way.
proper
Now that you have the brain science to prove it.
Okay.
So what happened is you had the old school way of teaching the sounds of the letters, and mm-hmm. that's the way children learn. And then some women, Fountas and Pinnell, Lucy Calkins, came up with these other programs that said, no, that isn't how children learn. That you can actually learn just by looking at the pictures and kind of guessing context clues and learning sight words, just other ways other than
so
sounding
much
out.
harder than
Yes, it is.
that seems so much like from how, because I learned how to read cat. Okay, cool. C-A-T.
Exactly.
That's how I learned how to
Exactly.
read. Even the toys they have, that's how it sounds.
Exactly right.
So thinking of it, and it's just like, what's that? Reading, is it?
Yeah,
it just seems
right.
I don't know. It doesn't give like I don't like. There's like a confidence between the sounding it out. It's like
That's
you're
right.
building up
You're
to
building
that.
up.
Yeah, but just who? No.
Yeah. So yeah. So millions of dollars. So like I say, TikTok videos now of teachers that have watched the podcast are like gathering up all these curriculum and like throwing them in the trash because that's how worthwhile.
How did
they've
you
been.
decide? Did you like create the curriculum for Achieve Academy, or did you like
Kind
outsource?
of. Yeah. Kind of both.
Okay. Okay.
So where there is no curriculum, and that's how these kind of workbooks came, because there wasn't anything. But where there is, I usually use homeschool curriculum rather than public school, just because the homeschool curriculum is harder. It gives you like all the foundation, not just, oh, it'll fit in 180 days, but the whole foundation for a subject. And that's the way I prefer to teach it. Like you said earlier, confidence. So it's like a mastery approach to education, like you don't move on until you've mastered this thing.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas now in public school, you have to move on because time is ticking, the tests are coming up. Yeah, so I say that Achieve Academy puts the student before the curriculum rather than public school putting the curriculum before the student. So I think that's so important.
Because it's like, when I think of public school, I think of like a factory. Just, all right, we're going to teach you this so you can go and do this afterwards. I need you for this right here. But with independent schooling, it's new. It's not like new to me, but me actually like meeting more people that are into it or doing it.
Right.
But well, I guess with the pandemic, it's just actually way more popular.
Way
anyway.
more popular. That's right. And it's interesting, the pandemic, what it did to education in terms of negatively impacted some children's education. So they estimate there's like this whole group of lost children that were kind of taken homeschooled and really never entered back into the education system. So it's so important because we're kind of linked with homeschool because that's how I started. But it's so important for homeschool families to have a schedule, have a, this is our day.
Right.
Because a lot of people try and fit it in with their job and all the other things that they're doing. And it's kind of the thing that gets lost most easily. It's kind of the thing that you can save time on.
Right.
But it's so important that you treat homeschool like a job.
Yeah, I can imagine it. I can see how it would benefit, or probably would have benefited me. That's why I see it so clearly. Probably it would have benefited me personally, just how I learned. I wasn't a traditional school learning kid. Like I had the whole ADD, ADHD, and all of that. But like, I just wasn't into it. Like if it wasn't science or literature or like a good part of history.
Yeah, right, good part.
A good part of history, because there's some stuff I won't even know about.
Right.
But I just wasn't interested. But as soon as school's out and I can go play soccer, I'm all in. I know everything that's going on.
That's right.
So I just see it as the same. It takes the same amount of energy mentally.
Absolutely, that's right.
So,
and when you mention ADD and ADHD, so we have students that have those learning challenges, but the way that we deal with them is that they have these small classes, about 10 students to a teacher. And they also not required to just sit and be quiet. because I wouldn't want to work in an environment like that.
Yeah.
So I don't think
fun.
Yeah, it's no fun, right? So we have different spaces where you can move to and do your work as long as you're staying on task.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to be in a seat.
It gets so it almost puts it actually puts the work on the student then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's encouraging self-discipline because that's the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not that, okay, you're going to have somebody who's going to tell you all the time, have you done this, have you done this? Because that's not reality.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to come a time when there's nobody telling you,
Right.
have you done this? And that's where procrastination comes in and you realize you have bad habits.
Very.
So if you could learn when you're 10, let's say, that, okay, I have a choice where I can work, how I can work, but I still need to get this done. You start to learn that, and sometimes it's by going the wrong way. You spent this time playing around when you should have finished your assignment, and now it becomes homework.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's trial and error for them, but it just starts the process of self-regulation really early.
That's good.
Yeah. Yes.
That's actually good. So coming up on time, it's my favorite question right now.
Oh, wow.
What's one question you wish I had have asked you that I did not?
One question.
Put the work on you.
Okay. I guess about my childhood more.
I did want to
Because-
dive into that. I did, because overseas, okay, Mrs. Pvel is not from America, guys. So, not quickly, but we got about 2.5, 3 minutes.
Okay.
How would you describe your childhood compared to what you see children dealing with now, or if you want to go that route?
Okay, so my childhood was different because my dad was in the Air Force, so we went back and forth from England to America.
Okay.
So being in school in England, we moved to a small town, and we were like the only black family. So that was really an interesting time. This is like the 80s, and in Europe there's this, there was the whole thing of the National Front and skinheads and this kind of racism. So I had a lot of difficulty with bullying, and pretty much on a daily basis. But I think that's what gives me this sort of like compassion now, and I never want a child to feel that way.
Right.
So it like hurts my heart if I hear a story like that. And I think that's why I did this. I think it's a result of that. Like I had to create this kind of safe space for children to not feel the way that I felt back then.
You're doing a great job.
Well,
Ms.
thank
Pvel,
you.
you are an absolute community superhero.
Thank you so much. Wow.
Because you're like international if we really get into it. I appreciate you for having me. That was awesome. This has been good. This has really been good.
Thank you
We
so
gotta do
much.
this
It's been
again.
great. Yes,
Like,
that's right.
we'll do it again in like 6 months or a year or something.
Okay, we'll have a couple of students here with us, and
Yeah,
then
we'll get
you can
Jalen
interview
in.
them. Yes,
We'll
there
get
you go.
Jalen in. So yeah, see y'all.
All right, thank you.